Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one on Irving, puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. A three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James, second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Donovan freaking Mitchell is a stud. Hello, Cavs fans. Welcome to another edition of The Block, the Shot, the Stop. Skylar Webker, Kevin Lynch coming to you shortly after the Cavs take down the Boston Celtics thanks to a amazing fourth quarter led by Donovan Mitchell, but by the whole team for a comeback victory, 115 to 111. Skylar, I usually give you your choice, but I don't even have to. Let's talk about let's talk about Donovan Mitchell, man. What did you see all game, especially in that fourth quarter?
I said it last episode. I'm thankful that Donovan Mitchell is a Cleveland Cavalier. I mean, just kind of glazing over the first part of the game, like going into that fourth quarter, I put something out on our X account. Can Donovan Mitchell go absolutely nuclear and save this game? And he did. I mean, yes, 16 points in the fourth quarter before getting into that whole free throw mess at the end.
Yeah.
Man, was he a man on a mission. He refused to lose.
He did. And you're right. He had 16 points during the comeback, 20 in total in the fourth quarter, thanks to a whole lot of free throws down the stretch. The last 30 seconds of the game was not aesthetically pleasing, but if you're willing to sacrifice that to get a win, which I think most Cavs fans would, I certainly know we would, you're willing to do that. And why don't we talk about that for a second, Skylar? So the Cavs make their huge run. Donovan Mitchell hit like 3 or 4 threes in a row to bring them all the way back. They're down 12 going into the fourth quarter. And then the last 30 seconds, the Cavs get, I believe, a 3-point lead, and they just start fouling back and forth. Boston's fouling because they have to, because otherwise the Cavs will run out the clock. But the Cavs, in turn, are fouling Boston, theoretically, to not let them get off a 3-point shot and be able to cut in the lead or tie the game. What did you think of that strategy? Obviously, it worked, so it's great. But like at the time, what were you thinking of that strategy?
It's such a smart move by Kenny Atkinson. You know, we are more than willing to make them earn it at the line over and over again, but they not giving them a chance to even get to the lead. You know what I mean? Like that just takes the wind out of the sails to where they have to do that crazy, or Pritchardson has to kind of throw it off the rim to himself and, cause that turnover. So I think it's super smart. It doesn't make a very fun to watch brand of basketball. But if the name of the game is to win, that is how you win. That's how you out-coach Boston.
It was a great strategy, specifically against Boston, because I don't even know if it's arguable that they're the best three-point shooting team in the league. They take the most, they make the most, they shoot a very high percentage. I don't. We were talking before we started recording. Like, I don't know if Kenny Atkinson does this strategy against all 29 teams in the league, but I think it was the right strategy. Even when it was happening, I was like, this is tough to watch, but I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, they're the best three-point shooting team in the league, and they take so many of them. And I put on our X account during the game, they are the best at making bad three-point shots.
Yeah. No, that was a great call out by you, because it's true. They run like really beautiful offense, much like the Cavs. And two of the best offenses where the ball's moving, everybody's sharing the ball, everybody's contributing. Two of my favorite offenses to watch. But the Celtics, when push comes to shove, have a lot of guys who are good at making difficult shots, led by Jason Tatum. And Tatum was having a big game. He had 33 points, but I don't think he scored the last 6 minutes of the game, which was one of the other big keys, along with, our best player went nuts and their best player kind of, went cold those last few minutes, or actually didn't even get a lot of shots up the last 6 minutes or so of the game. And frankly, that along with Kenny Atkins' strategy at the end were probably the differences in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Jason Tatum, to his credit, he went and got his own. He feasted.
Mhm.
When you look into the stats, he really didn't impact the game as much as you'd think. I mean, he finished the game with a +1.
Yeah.
It was just crazy, getting 33 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, but only having a +1. That means he's taking a lot of shots and he's not making a ton.
My guess is that plus minus was in double digits in the beginning of the fourth quarter though. And everything kind of flipped there. I thought Tatum was having a really good game. Pritchard was having a big game. I was a little bit surprised how much Porzingis played. That they just came back a couple games ago. He got over 32 minutes tonight. He looked really good. He looks pre-injury Kristaps Porzingis, and was just I was I'll be honest, truth time. At the end of the third quarter, I was like, I got to figure out a way to not be too negative on the pod. Both Skylar and Tim are naturally more positive guys than me. I was like, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. I like to be honest. When things are great, let's talk about how great they are. When things aren't the best, let's talk about that too. But I was really, the beginning of that fourth quarter, like in my head thinking, like, how do I put a positive spin on this, or at least not be like too downer, because Boston controlled the game the first 3 quarters, and then the Cavs flipped it in the fourth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can get into the negative parts from Cleveland of this game. They really shut down Mobley and Allen offensively through the whole game.
Yeah.
Both of those guys finished under 10 points. Both got 10 rebounds, but I mean, Jared Allen with a -6, Mobley with a +7, and most of that's just because of the blocks. So they really made those guys afraid of the paint for some reason. But just because, I don't know, Al Horford and Porzingis for most stretches.
Porzingis is the difference because he didn't play in the first game, and Mobley had a double-double. I think he had like 22 and 11 that first game, and was really, really, he was probably the Cavs' best player that first game. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of different reasons, but I think Porzingis being back is a big contributor to that.
Yeah, and them having 2 guys that are stretch bigs is very difficult for really any team to defend. But especially when you have 2 guys like Mobley and Allen that are fine on the perimeter, but you kind of need more than fine to stop those guys.
Yeah, no doubt. And we'll get, I only had one real negative, one other additional negative we'll get out of the way, and then we'll talk positives the rest of the rest of the podcast, because there's definitely a ton of positives to talk about. But the unfortunate trend that I noticed the last game, Friday against the Hawks, continued tonight, and that's like the Cavs getting beat pretty good in the third quarter. So I looked it up. The last 4 games, they've been outscored in the third quarter by 40 points, or 10 points a game in the third quarter. And I guess I'll turn it to you first, Skylar. Like, anything about the third quarter and this Cavs team, the rotation, the couple of guys that are missing, like anything stick out to you why all of a sudden the third quarter would be a problem for the Cavs?
I'm not sure. I mean, during the whole winning streak, it never felt that way. It felt like they always came out of the half ready to play.
Yeah.
And now that we, as I've donned it, come into the start of our actual season, it just seems like they come out slow after the third quarter. I don't know if it's the rotation. The minutes tonight, we're right back to where we were before, where nobody's over 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Where on the contrary, Pritchardson and Tatum, they both put in 38, 36.
Yeah.
Hauser 36, Al Horford 30, Porzingis 32, Holiday 34. So maybe it is the rotation. Maybe staying light on minutes and going into our depth start the third quarter isn't working like it was. I kind of put out there before, like how deep the Cavs are, how much leash do some of these bench guys get? if you're someone like Sam Merrill, who's been slumping lately.
Yeah, no, it's a great call out. And I was also looking, the couple games against the Hawks, like it was the first time noticeably that the Cavs bench got outplayed by the opponent's bench this year. It felt like the first 17 games, the Cavs bench, it seemed like, was better every single game on whatever metric you want to look at. Then that kind of changed the last couple games. I thought tonight it wasn't the bench's best game, but like what we talked about before when the Cavs were really rolling, like the first 3 weeks of the season, was like every night, like 2 of the bench guys step up. Like everybody's not going to have a great game all on the same night, right? But like 2 out of the 5 or 6 guys that come in off the bench step up. And tonight, those are 2 guys I want to highlight. Like in Georges Niang, I thought had an incredible game for him, and continues to defy expectations for what we had for him to start the year. And then the guy I want to talk about for a minute is Karis LeVert, because on Friday's show, Tim and I were talking about LeVert looked a little ginger on Friday, and we couldn't tell if it was rust or the knee still bothering him. I thought he looked a lot more like Karis LeVert tonight, and definitely he didn't make as big an impact in the fourth quarter, but he was one of the guys that kept the Cavs close enough in striking distance that they could make that run in the fourth quarter. He had 13 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 assist tonight in 23 minutes. He gave the Cavs what they normally can expect from LeVert, and I think that's a really good sign with him kind of continuing to struggle with that knee injury.
Yeah, I think this Cavs team missed LeVert sorely for the past, I think, a week or so.
Yeah.
They needed his scoring. He needs to get his turnover. He turned over the ball 5 times. So get the turnovers back down, but they needed that scoring. They needed that defensive effort. They needed LeVert. And I want to highlight Josh's comment here. Niang's free throws there at the end were
yes.
Made us so nervous.
Yes.
The ball in play made us nervous.
No, it's so true. That's another thing we were talking about right before I started recording. I told Skylar, like, when Niang was going to the line, after it seemed like Garland and Mitchell took every shot the last 6, 7, 8 minutes of the game, free throw or otherwise, I was like, oh my God, like no one shot. Now Niang. I honestly had no idea how good a free throw shooter Niang was. My brain went blank. I couldn't even remember. And then he stepped up and hit those 2, like, definitely call him out, hit those 2, but like between him, Mitchell, and Garland, they went 10 for 10 in the last 26 seconds of the game on free throws. And that's, clutch to be able to. They had a little bit of problems with free throws against the Hawks as well. That was another kind of little bit of a sore spot, but really stepped up and knocked down every single one and refused to give Boston the daylights to try and, tie the game.
Absolutely. That was as clutch as you can be. 10 for 10 free throws on a team that's not the best free throw shooting team.
Yeah.
That was really clutch. And I just love that Niang is such a dog. I mean, he does not care. He's barking at these guys. He's barking at refs. He is a dog.
That's what I was with my daughter. So I was going to put in the chat, like, what Niang looked like he hurt himself, like, and they called it out in the game. They like look like he has the lower body, like he hurt himself, lower body injury. And I said out loud, like, oh no, what's going to happen? He's not going to be able to jump. Like, so, but that joke aside, Georges, he has been so good all year. Filling a lot of, like, I don't know, a lot of what we thought might be void with the Cavs team, a guy who can play the 3-4 off the bench, especially fill in at power forward when one of the bigs is out, can play a 3 if needed. He's not the most athletic guy. I think everybody would agree with that, but he is playing as well as I've ever seen him. And I've seen him play, kind of bounce around the league the last several years.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, right person, right seat, right time.
Yeah.
And I think he's just fitting into what the Cavs need from him and getting the most out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's let's talk a little bit Boston, and then we'll wrap up. I do want to talk about both a little bit more about Mitchell and Garland tonight, because they really were a 1-2 punch. Garland was a little bit more consistent throughout the game, and then Mitchell obviously at the end. But let's talk a little bit about Boston. And obviously Boston was missing a couple of key guys. Jaylen Brown ended up getting sick today. He was unexpectedly out. Derek White has a minor injury. I kind of expected that he might not play tonight, and he didn't. That said, you play the teams on your schedule and the guys they put out there every night. So we're not going to apologize for missing that. You know, the Cavs are missing a couple guys. Are the guys that are missing the caliber of Jaylen Brown and Derek White? No, but they're not full either. What did you hear when you heard those guys were going to be out, you know, an hour or so before the game? Did you obviously thought maybe it increased the Cavs' chances tonight? Did you think anything about the game might change when you heard those guys were out?
I did think it helped our odds. The one thing that I just was curious about, and I called this out when we played Boston the last time, was what is this team if either Tatum or Brown are out? You know, how focused does it become on one guy? How focused, you know, are they going to distribute better or worse? And it really seemed like it just zeroed in on Jason Tatum pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, it was. And Tim and I, when we were previewing this game on Friday, we talked about like Tatum and Brown are great players. They're going to get their points. Don't let other guys go off too much. So with Brown out, it was kind of Tatum and Porzingis. Those are the guys who were going to get their points. Porzingis, honestly, seems like he's a little bit of a bad matchup for Boston dating back to last year because of that stretchability. You know, our two bigs are fantastic, but don't stretch the floor quite as much as Porzingis does. So I'm not surprised he had a really good game. Pritchard had a lot of points, but many of those came in the fourth quarter from the free throw line where we were fouling all the time, and a couple, you know, but other than that, we held most of their other guys down. Drew Holiday only had 4 points tonight. Al Horford only had 8 on 2 for 9 shooting. No other than Pritchard, no other significant contributions from their bench. So the Cavs did what they needed to do. You know, their stars are going to score some points, try and make it tough on them, and then don't let the non-stars, you know, beat you.
Yeah, that's the game plan. You know, sure, let LeBron get his own. Let AD get his own. Don't let AR-15 kill you. Don't let D'Angelo Russell kill you.
Yeah. No, it's true. All right. Well, let's circle back to our beloved backcourt of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. So we'll start with Garland. Another really good game from Darius. He had 22 points, 8 for 8 from the line. I think 4 of those were in that last 30 seconds. It was kind of him and Mitchell going back and forth to the line until Niang took the last 2. You know, shot the ball fairly well, 4 for 6 from 3-point arc, continues to shoot the heck out of the ball from 3. You know, whether it's tonight or the last few games or all season, like, what do you want to talk about with Darius Garland? Because I'm running out of words. He just continues to impress. I'm
just glad to have this bounce back game from Darius Garland, because the first time we played Boston, him and Mitchell kind of heated up in the back half of the game, but he was abysmal that first time. I think he finished with like 8 points, 6 assists, not really contributing in that game at all. Where tonight, like you said, he was consistent from the jump. You know, from the start of the game to the end of the game, he put together a very complete game. +7. He had a block, 2 steals. Oh wait, sorry, that's
you're looking at Mitchell.
Yeah, I was looking at Mitchell. 8 assists, 22 points.
Yep.
5 rebounds.
Yep. And he was probably the number one reason that they stayed in striking distance the first 3 quarters. Even if me being doom and gloom didn't know if double-digit lead by the Celtics going in the fourth quarter was striking distance, I was certainly proven wrong and happy to have that happen. But yeah, no, Darius is fantastic. Him shooting the 3 ball so well opens up his whole game to use his quickness, to use his floaters, to do his penetrating kicks. We didn't see again tonight, which we talked about on the Hawks. We didn't see as much of him and Mitchell penetrating and dumping off to Allen and Mobley for easy dunks. I'd kind of like to see that come back because that was, beautiful basketball, them setting each other up. I'm sure some of that is like scouting by the other teams and them trying to take it away and everything. But I personally think with Darius, other than him being healthy, which he wasn't pretty much all of last year, him shooting the three ball so well has really been the key to opening up his entire offensive game.
Absolutely. His three ball improving, just looking comfortable again. That's Joshua said in his latest comment, he looked comfortable. After that first game in Boston, it's easy to get rattled, especially in the Garden. You know that they're the measuring stick team. So for him to just look comfortable from the word jump. And, to his credit, he finished the game with a 0 plus minus. A lot of that is being matched up on Jason Tatum pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, they certainly hunted him on defense, and he is giving great effort on defense because of his size. He's gonna get taken advantage of and picked on a little bit on defense, but all you can do is fights, try and use the advantages you have, and for him that's mostly his quickness, try and get steals underneath guys, and been really happy with him and Donovan Mitchell's defensive effort being kind of an undersized backcourt. And we'll pivot to Mitchell in a second, but last thing I want to say is Garland is now, depending on results from tonight, like in the top 10 in 3-point shooting in the league. Like if you'd have told me that going into the year, he's at about 45.5%. If you told me that going into the year that, he'd be healthy and be shooting over 45% from three, I'd be like, he's going to be an all-star. And that very well could be the case.
They also said on the broadcast that he's second in the league in jumpers. So pairing a 3-point, being top 10 in 3-point percentage and being number 2 in the league in jumpers percentage. That's all-star material.
Yeah, no, it is. All right. Well, let's start or let's end where we began, and that's Donovan Mitchell. You were kind of reading off his stats. He had 35 points tonight. And I'll tell you, in the fourth quarter, 20 points in the fourth quarter. Did not miss a shot in the fourth quarter. 6 for 6 from the field, 4 for 4 from the 3-point line, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, which particularly was impressive because for some reason he's been struggling there a little bit. He was 1 for 4 from the free throw line going into the fourth quarter, but nailed every single one of those to ice the game. Also contributed 5 rebounds in the fourth quarter, and just flat out took over the game. And the thing is, Skylar, like as beautiful as it is in basketball when everyone contributes, you share the ball, you run great offense, there's motion, all these things are happening. Sometimes you just need your stud to be a stud. And that the Cavs absolutely needed that tonight. They do not win without Mitchell having that kind of fourth quarter. And he came through in probably his biggest moment so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely the biggest moment so far this season. Sometimes you just need to let your stud be the stud. God, when he was coming up the court, 3, get the ball back, 3, get the ball back, 3, force Boston to call the timeout.
Yeah.
Come back, takes the ball back up the court, passes to Okoro. Okoro dishes over to Mobley for an easy dunk. And that was the comeback of getting ahead and just, it was awesome. That was, I can't explain like how absolutely nuclear he went to really save this game from defeat.
Tim and I always say are the most fun thing just in basketball, not even from a fan of a team standpoint. The most fun we have in basketball is when Steph Curry gets hot. It's just incredible when he makes 3, 4, 5 threes in a row from further and further and further out. Donovan Mitchell had a moment like that. He hit about 3 or 4 in a row to take, I think it was about a 9-point deficit to tie the game. And it was awesome when a guy gets hot like that and makes huge consecutive shots. And it's for your team, and it's at home, so you hear the crowd going crazy in the background. It is one of the most fun things in basketball.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I can imagine that The Rock had to be jumping
for sure, for sure. And just to put a bow on what we were talking about earlier, again, Donovan Mitchell 20 points in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum only 4. And Porzingis also had 4. So holding those two, their best 2 players tonight, to 8 points in the fourth quarter. You have to score a bunch of points to come back, but you have to be stopping the other team too.
Right.
And the best way to stop the other team is to keep their best players from scoring. And so let's give the Cavs lately a little bit maligned defense, if we're being honest. Really stepped up in the fourth quarter and made it difficult for the Celtics team, and in particular their 2 stars tonight.
Absolutely. They need to get back into the top 10 defense that they were during the winning streak.
Yes. That would be that would definitely be nice. All right, so let's before we get out of here, let's talk a little bit. The Cavs are back to playing a lot of basketball. After the 5-day hiatus we had last week or the week before. They now, it seems like they're playing every other day. I believe, sorry, I'm pulling it up, but it's the Wizards. They have Tuesday nights, the Washington Wizards, who have lost 14 straight games. This one's real simple.
Woo.
Don't be that team. Don't be that team that takes the Wizards lightly, doesn't do anything, and risks losing a game. To them, I highly doubt that happening. We haven't really seen the Cavs take anyone lightly, or have just games where they aren't prepared to play this year. Even the games they've lost, they've been prepared to play, just didn't play well. So I don't see that happening, but I don't know. Any other potential keys to that game that you can think of, Skylar?
The ESPN matchup predictor gives the Wizards an 11% chance. They're at home, or Cavs are at home. They're still missing. They're still going to be missing Dean Wade and Max Strus, who they are missing dearly, by the way. Those two stretch the floor a little bit more than some of our other guys. But Kyle Kuzma is out, or game time decision.
Okay.
Sadiq Bey is out. So, I mean, right there, two of the guys that get heavy minutes in their rotation. So,
yeah.
Keep Valanciunas and Jordan Poole at bay, and you should be all right.
Yeah, for sure. And I completely agree. This is one I would love nothing more than to see the Cavs come out, get back to their ways of just having dominant first quarters. They're still the best first quarter team in the NBA, even if they've slipped on that a little bit recently. I'd love to see a 15-point lead at the end of the first quarter, coast to a 20-point win, get the starters, off the floor for a lot of the fourth quarter. Because with us playing so much basketball and wanting to keep everyone healthy, best way to do it is to limit minutes, so then you don't have to have guys, get banged up and miss a game here and there.
Especially with the other teams following. I mean, we have Denver on Thursday, Charlotte, and then Miami, Milwaukee, Philly, Utah, Denver, Golden State, Los Angeles, Dallas. That's a run.
Yeah, and the other thing, and you're right, the next 3 are the Wizards. We talked about the Nuggets and the Nuggets, Hornets, and Heat. Those 4 are the next 4 games. They have those 4 games in 6 days starting Tuesday, so a lot of basketball. Then it's the break for the NBA Cup, which unfortunately the Cavaliers did not qualify for. So they are going to get 2 games added to their schedule kind of in that second week of December timeframe. I don't think we know who they're going to play or what games those are going to be yet. So we'll talk about that more. I think the NBA Cup seeding should be done here in the next couple of days, and then they'll probably schedule the Cavs a couple games kind of between that Heat game on the 8th and the Bucks game on the 20th. I would love it if they just had a 12-day break and got everybody some rest, but I unfortunately don't think that's going to be the case.
I know we need Tim and Sydney in here to give us the probability tree of who we play in those two games.
They are better suited probably than you or I to know that. But yeah, I think we'll figure that out when they get there. Like Cavs, great win tonight. Let's take care of it, and we got the next two at home. First one against the Wizards, worst team in the league. Next one against Denver, who has in my money, still the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic. But the team overall has struggled a lot this year compared to where they've been in years past. So hopefully those are a couple of games the Cavs can take care of business, and then they have a doubleheader or a back-to-back, I should say, over the weekend with the Hornets and Heat. Both kind of middling teams in the Eastern Conference. I wouldn't necessarily say pushovers, but also teams the Cavs should beat. So the best thing about getting this win against the Celtics tonight is it washes off that stink of the two Hawk games, right?
Yes.
You beat the Celtics tonight. Frankly, I'm going to keep saying it. Celtics are the best team in the league until proven otherwise. It washes off some of that bad feelings from losing the Hawks. And you can kind of right the ship, I'd love it if they win another 14, 15 game winning streak, but realistically, I just want to see them start stacking together, winning 3 or 4 here, then winning 2 or 3, then winning 4 or 5, and just keep. As much as we love the Cavs, and Skylar is as big a Cavs homer as I've ever met in my life. I think realistically, we'll say they're not the 96 Bulls. They're not the 2015 Warrior or 2016 Warriors, whatever it was, that win 70 plus games. But this team is a team fully capable of winning close to or exceeding 60 games. I can see them getting high 50s, right around 60, 61, something like that. And I just want to stay on pace for that. Like I said, keep beating all the teams you should. Get your fair share of wins when you match up against the better teams in the league. And more than anything, if we'd have lost tonight, you realize we wouldn't have been in first place in the East anymore. And that would have frankly been kind of deflating after the Cavs have been so good.
Yeah.
The first 20 games of the year to now all of a sudden we're not in first anymore. And whether they end up in first at the end of the year or not, it's nice to kind of keep that little bit of cushion in front of Boston, keep a decent sized cushion between anybody else in the East. And like I said, let's keep it rolling. Let's take care of the Wizards nice and easy Tuesday nights and try and get back on another win streak.
Yeah, I want that number 1 seed in the playoffs. Like I want that top seed.
I'm with you. I'm with you. And I think the best realistic way to do it is just keep winning, 2 out of every 3 games, 3 out of every 4. And the Cavs haven't lost to a really bad team yet. The Hawks are not a great team for sure. For whatever reason, they're just a bad matchup for the Cavs. We covered some of that last week, but frankly, they've been a bad matchup for the last few years for the Cavs, unfortunately. But yeah, amazing win tonight. Start like Tuesday, they win, start a win streak, and then just get the good feelings going again that we had, up until a few days ago. Skylar, you got anything else? Anything else about the game tonight, or about any more thoughts on the Cavs before we wrap up here?
18-3 feels a lot better than 17-4.
I completely agree. 18-3 just it sounds real nice. No, I'm with you. All right. Well, for Skylar Webker and in the absence of Tim Daniel, I'm Kevin Lynch. We certainly appreciate everybody listening, following along in this Cavs amazing season. Takes another great turn tonight with beating the defending champion Boston Celtics. Thank you for joining us.
Go Cavs.